фазе смены технологического уклада и осмысления глобальных вызовов. Стремительная цифровизация рождает также вызовы глобального характера. Среди них сохранение конкурентоспособности государств и компаний, защищенность человека и его персональных данных, а также важнейший вызов – сохранение национального суверенитета. Пандемия ускорила процесс цифровой трансформации, сделав его одним из основных инструментов реагирования государствами на новый вызов и о преодолении его последствий. Традиционные компании столкнулись с угрозой экономических потерь, а цифровые компании с новыми условиями для роста своих активов, потенциала и доли в мировой экономике. Каждый из них стоит сейчас перед необходимостью переосмысления своего места в новой, быстро меняющейся реальности. Глобальные вызовы требуют совместных решений. Эффективный ответ на глобальные вызовы не может быть найден сугубо в рамках национальных границ. Региональная интеграция – это залог и необходимые условия уверенного и успешного развития наших стран в эпоху глобальных изменений. Через синергию и транснациональные инициативы к новому технологическому укладу и цифровому суверенитету. Какая роль Евразийских институтов и объединений в новой цифровой реальности? Удастся ли через синергию обеспечить переход наших стран в новый технологический уклад и гарантировать цифровой суверенитет?
A very good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, and I would like to have Tigran Sargis, of course, the deputy chairman of the Eurasian Bank for, Eurasian Development Bank. Tigran, please, you have the floor. Very, very good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with us today. We truly, truly appreciate this opportunity. And for the Eurasian Development Bank, this is a very, very important event. This is a milestone event because we are here today to present to you something very important. We are here today to build a brand new vision for this bank so that we can communicate from you and throughout this Eurasian community, the goals and objectives, the vision that we have, the level of ambition that we have. And we are so excited about this opportunity, and only together can we accomplish it for the benefit of everyone, the clients, the partners, and every single person populating Eurasian space. This is a very challenging time, ladies and gentlemen, very challenging time. We see so many disruptions taking place. In front of our eyes, we see a brand new world, a brand new economic setup. The depth and the breadth of this economic change is yet to be comprehended. And we're still clenching to the old, to the past. We're still there. I'm not sure we have yet transitioned. And yes, many of you might be dreaming about when will we come back to square one? When will we come back to the old days? But face it, the world will never be the same. The children, our new generations, will be there in the new environment where the speed of change is absolutely critical. So we, you, I, all of us have to learn to master this change. So digitalization is just one of the attributes. Yes, it is a powerful tool, but it's just one of the tools. And there are so many. It's just one of the representations of this incredible change. And it's happening all over the place. And this is all due to this incredible technologies that are out there. It's all about the power of the mind, the power of the brain. And the best countries out there are the ones that produce the most knowledge to this world and share it with the global society. And all of us should be ready for this global, ruthless competition. And not surprising that we at the Eurasian Development Bank truly believe that we need to help everyone who is involved, all the stakeholders, to smoothly and seamlessly transition into the digital era. Everybody's talking about digitalization, but we all understand that. Yes, it is a challenge. Yes, it is difficult, but it is doable. And it's not the matter of if, it's the matter of when. And the when is now. And there's a reason why we're discussing the sovereignty. By the way, the reason we're connecting digitalization and sovereignty, because when the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, every single former Soviet Union republic tried to build something, their economy, their lifestyle, through sovereignty. That's why from republic they transition into sovereign states. But after so many years of battles, we finally see that the world now is in a totally different place, where the national sovereignty within one country is impossible. It is impossible. It's an artificial thinking. You need to collaborate. You need to cooperate. You need to synergize. You need complementation. You need to build strength through collaboration on national and supranational level. No country alone is capable of delivering that output. There's just not enough capability. Now, the digital era and everything that is happening around us basically goes to show that it is inefficient and ineffective to do digitalization just within one country, just within one state. It's just not enough. It's too small. It's too limited. There's just not enough capability. The skill set is just not enough. There will always be gaps. What about your neighboring countries? How about you join forces? How about you build something so that the 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 4 but 5 or even more? Whatever the projects we're talking about. So it's almost impossible, almost incomprehensible to deliver what we are wishing for through just one country, no matter how powerful it is. So that is exactly why we're pushing this cross-country agenda. So look, speaking of the standards, we all talk about the so-called international standards. There's a reason why it's standard called international. Why? Because it has to collaborate. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Otherwise, it's got to be a mess. So, speaking of the Eurasian Union, how do we deliver that transformation? How do we transition from before to after? What are the challenges? What are the obstacles? What are the blocks? So, what do we need to do? What kind of boundaries? What do we need to break through? What kind of walls do we need to destroy to be on the other side? That is exactly what we're talking about today. So I welcome again. Thank you for being with us today. We truly, truly appreciate it. And without further ado, let's begin our first panel.
Фонд цифровых инициатив Евразийского банка развития учрежден Советом банка 30 июня 2020 года. Цель фонда – оказание содействия государствам-участникам Евразийского банка развития в формировании
in developing the tools and the practices of digital transformation throughout the Eurasian Union. This organization is based on the Foundation for Digital Initiatives. And the main goals and objectives of this initiative is to develop digital infrastructure in fintech, transportation, information communication, energy, healthcare, and energy as well as environment. The man in charge of this foundation is Tigran Sarkisyan. We are searching for digital initiatives and digital projects, and this is done by the think tank within the Eurasian Development Bank. So this organization features government officials, private businesses, NGOs, and many other stakeholders. All that is part of the Eurasian Economic Commission. A flagship project was commenced based on that, traveling without COVID-19. The foundation launched multiple projects, initiatives, contests, with first of that being to combat COVID-19 through digital technology. This foundation is completely open to partners around the world, and all that for the purpose of digital transformation. It is designed to create true partnerships throughout the Eurasian space. So, ladies and gentlemen, so let's talk about it. When it comes to the Eurasian Development Bank, so one of our core competencies is digitalization, digital projects, digital products, digital services, initiatives to help member states to transition into fully digital, a digital first company. Now, the Digital Foundation, Digital Initiatives Foundation, the one that this video was about, is exactly designed to do that, to enable this kind of transition. So it's been just several months. So this is a brand new foundation. And despite that, we have already launched several projects. And this is, as you can see, available on iOS and Android. This is a brand new project, and I would like to showcase it right here, right now. So the idea is to travel COVID-free. This is a COVID-19 free travel. So amidst the pandemic, we need to do something. We want to make sure that the projects that we develop actually make our people's lives easier, to develop the kind of seamlessness. And definitely all these digital changes because of the pandemic, it's incredible. It's been an incredible catalyst. It's because the digital is what helps us circumvent all the challenges and all the obstacles out there. So, and therefore we cannot shy away from this process. We have to be fully engaged and to bring out the best ideas. So what is the main limitation when it comes to the lockdown? Of course, traveling. They stop traveling, they cancel airlines, and this hurts the economy. This hurts everything. It causes the limitation of freedoms that we're so used to enjoy. And it causes multiple risks and disruptions across supply chains. Then how do we control that? How do we combat that? We need to efficiently and effectively identify the carriers of COVID-19 and make sure that we can separate one from the other, the healthy from the ill. Now, so this digital app called COVID-19 Free Travel, it's an app, and this is how it works. Let me tell you about what this app do. Now, to open up borders, to start traveling, we want to make sure that the people that are traveling from country to country are COVID-free, that they're not carriers of this virus. So they get a certificate, they go through the lab, they get the PCR, right? The way it's usually done. You have to go through the PCR, make sure that the lab says you're virus-free, but that's paperwork. You have to go somewhere, you have to call the doctor. It's just unnecessary hurdle, unnecessary pain. And then you go and then they double check you on location, etc., etc. This is so many unnecessary steps. So we designed this app to streamline this approach, to make it easier. So, and this is what it does. Okay, let me explain how it works. Just imagine that now you have the capability to actually download the app. Number one, you download it. So this is COVID-19 free travel. This is the whole idea is that you can do it in Armenia, in Belarus, in Russia, and hopefully, by the way, once we're done with this experiment, hopefully Kazakhstan will join and Kyrgyzstan, because we're waiting for the other two countries to join in. So when we're done, once the app is downloaded, and this is both iOS and Android, so you download the app, it's on your iPhone or whatever phone you use, and then, okay, you can choose. So let me show you the next slide. You can choose the hospital of choice, for example, the hospital of choice. Maybe a lab, maybe a hospital. I think that my Bluetooth is not working because it was supposed to work. Let me double check again my digital stuff here. Hopefully it works because I'm supposed to actually have an app on my phone that actually switches slides. And for whatever reason, I'm pushing the button, it doesn't work. Okay, let me do it again. It's supposed to work. Done, good, it's working. Yes. Okay, yeah. Here we go. Any moment now. Good. Like I was saying, so you can find the lab of choice. or the hospital of choice where you can do the test, where you can get tested. And of course, if you have geolocation enabled, and no problem. This app will navigate you to the closest lab where you can get tested. So when you go there for the test, of course, you use a QR code. So that's your connection with the laboratory, basically. It's a QR code. And that's it. So your data seamlessly transitions to the lab. That's it. It's in the database. It's right there. No problem. This is your guidance, basically. This is what you need to do. It's just a description of steps like A, B, C, D. This is what you do. This is what you need to do. Okay, this is your consent. Essentially, this is your consent according to these guidelines. And okay, you follow all the rules, of course, and then etc., etc. So it says, please, plus when you're ready. Now, you have the screen, and you have 3 bars. The origin country, whatever you came from, maybe your origin country was Romania, or Russia, or Belarus. So for now, we have, for instance, delegation from Armenia. So this is the origin country, for example, right? And they actually use that app. They're already using that app. So this is the origin country. Now, second, you choose the destination country. For instance, you're traveling to Russia. Therefore, they're here. That's their destination country. That's Russia, from Armenia to Russia. And you see, it says My Tests. So, and you have a choice of labs where you can go to for the test. And you have this information that tells you basically what you need to do. The ABCs of how to choose the lab, how to be prepared, what you need to do, what you need to fill in, etc., etc. So basically, it's a user guide. You can call it that way. Then you have the list of tests, and then you need to scan the code. You scan the code. So this is the code. So that's your connection to the laboratory. Essentially, this is where you go for the test, essentially. So, and in this particular case, for example, we used Belarus, and it gives the address, etc., all the details. So we already scanned the code. Good. It's working. Moving on. Okay, next step. Here we go. So there's another QR code that you also need to scan. Oh, yes, sir. You need to scan the other code. There are 2 codes. Okay, let me scan the other one. Hold on a second. Bear with me. So, what you actually get, right, is that, look, first of all, the results are out. So this is the lab result. So it tells you whether it's positive or negative, whether you COVID negative or COVID positive. Then that's what you see on the screen. So you see green bar, it says negative, so you are COVID free. Well, excellent. So that means basically with this phone, that's it. You can travel anywhere you want. Not anywhere, but to the country of your destination. So that's the other option, by the way. There's another code. For example, once you're done and you are carrying this green QR code as a confirmation that you're COVID-free. For example, in Moscow or in Yerevan, you can actually double check not only the presence of a code, but the credibility of a code to make sure that it's not fake. So we have this mechanism, by the way, and we have come up with this system that actually gives you real-time confirmation that the code is real, that the code is not fake. So this one, essentially, okay, let me do this one. Okay, okay. Hold on a second. Well, anyways, the whole idea is that that's what you do, right? So you use it twice. First one to get confirmation, and the second one is to as a proof. That's it. That's the whole idea. It's very easy to do, and it's easy for the supervision. For example, in Sheremetyevo airport yesterday, for example, we saw that the Russian authorities, by the way, they were reading the QR codes very easy. Our delegates from Belarus and from Armenia, no problem there, and they would double check and make sure that the QR codes are actually real and the delegation is COVID free. Well, of course, I mean, there will be further iterations of the slide, of this app. Because look, this is just one risk, okay? So that's just the COVID to make sure that the person is COVID free. But what if you get the virus while you are there en route, and to that you get insurance. There's another option. So what if you go to Russia and you get COVID? What do you do then? So our app will enable you to choose the insurance company of choice in line with your legislation. Then you can buy the insurance policy and you can do all of that via this app, right? And therefore, this information will go to the government, and the government will know that you are insured against COVID. And there's a third field about the vaccine. So, do you have a vaccine or not? And so, therefore, this app will also contain this information. So, it's one of the products that we developed. Honestly, this is not the only one. Of course, there'll be other products like that. And our job is to make sure that all of our partners are involved from the Eurasian space. And this will make our life easier and more comfortable, hopefully. That's it. Thank you very, very much. And we are moving on. So I would like to invite to this station, to this platform, Evgeny Kovner, the CEO of ANO Цифровая Экономика. I would like to also invite to the stage the CEO of Yandex Russia, Elena Bunina. And we're also joined by Ashat Arazbek. He's joining us online, the Minister for Digital Development, Innovation and Aerospace from the Republic of Kazakhstan. Aslan, thank you for joining us today. And we also have Alanbek Ismailov, Chairman of the Government Committee for Information Technology and Connectivity, the Republic of Kyrgyzia. Altanbek, thank you for being with us today. And we have Magjan Madiev, the CEO of Astana Hub. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, guys, for being with us today. So let's begin. So here's the point. So we begin, and quite honestly, we believe that look, it would make sense. It would make total sense to, as a matter of fact, discuss top 3 items. So, and the first item that we'd like to discuss is we're talking about this digital transformation. So the question is, how do you actually do it? Well, because we're not the only country, there are other countries out there. So how do you actually do this? And it turns out that it is not easy. It's not easy, as a matter of fact, to coordinate our efforts. Because on the one hand, you need full understanding of what the hell you're doing. On the other hand, you need to also make sure that you understand the local specifics, the local priorities, because every country is different, it has its own views, etc. So it's not monolithic, so to say. So we need to take that into account, of course. So from this standpoint, look, it's very, very important to have this kind of panel, the view from the regulators and the view from the decision makers. This is absolutely paramount. So we need to make sure that the whole value chain of regulation is built properly. Now, the second item is about digital companies, companies that have tremendous competencies, companies that have incredible technology, and companies that can actually scale up their technology and span it all across the Eurasian space. So we need to talk to these companies, right? And we need to ask them, like, what can we do to help? How can we enable it? What are we doing maybe wrong? What kind of products and services they have, and how can we be of help? So, and that is exactly why I would like to actually start by addressing our panelists today. So, Evgeny and Magjan, of course, right? So, Evgeny is from ANO Цифровая Экономика, Digital Economy. So, you represent the National Center for Digital Competence. What is important for you? Tell me, please, to scale up digital, national, and private initiatives and products and services within the Eurasian Union. Please, sir. Floor goes to Evgeny. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for being with us today, and thank you for doing this offline. By the way, very, very nice to actually, for a change, to be offline and to actually see real people. It's very, very nice because, I'm kind of missing the whole offline, traditional, old school environment. It's always nice to actually feel the actual physical environment around myself. So before I actually go to what the businesses actually require, before I actually talk about the role of EES, the Eurasian Economic Commission, and what exactly we do in terms of Eurasian space and how we operate. So, as you know, the foundation of EEC is a free economic zone so that products and services can cross boundary free. So there's one single European space, such as transportation, such as and you mentioned that, by the way, the app that enables basically traveling, makes traveling easier, and other things. So these are very important things. So if you do that, then definitely digital will definitely benefit us. So that when we talk about the integrated union, right? The union is supposed to be integrated. So we need to do things that will enable this kind of integration. So let's do it. So on the one hand, on the other hand, you're absolutely right that companies have so much competence, digital competence and digital giants. We have, for example, Yandex here, and there's a continuous dialogue with the government, and we are making sure that the businesses actually feel supported, making sure that there's proper framework for development. Now, so the digital economy is, if you look at what it is, it's based on data inbound and outbound data, and the data management. That's what it's all about. And there's the official government program called Digital Economy. And as part of the digital economy, as you know, there are certain big sort of foundational pillars that are designed to support companies, from countrywide 5G infrastructure, and we have specific roadmap, and the government already enabled it. So this is a 5-year program on the rollout of 5G. So the 5G is important so that we can get data and send data as quickly as possible, so that there are no bottlenecks in terms of the flow of data in and out. Besides that, there are also multiple plans that are being developed with the support of the government in terms of the pool of talents, because these are very hot talents, and these are scarce talents, because 2/3 is payroll and incredible people with their new skills. So we need to take care of that as well. And besides that, so of course we are boosting IT capabilities, IT training programs when it comes to vocational education and high education, universities and things like that, or retraining so that the people gain new skills when it comes to digital. And we also making sure that we can transition all key material processes into digital signature, electronic document flow, digital archiving, and lots of other things. So it's a very comprehensive work. So it's a huge pipeline. It's part of the roadmap that we enable, converting physical to digital, multiple initiatives. That's it. And this is what we've been doing together with the government, and we're ready to share it, we're ready to learn. And by the way, if any of you, by the way, have an interesting finding, right, so you are absolutely free to actually share it with us. We absolutely appreciate any new inputs. So please don't hide it, don't hoard it, share it. This is something that we absolutely encourage. And finally, just to wrap it up from my side, look, maybe there's one more thing. So how about other European unions, like European Union and other unions out there? We're not the only economic union out there. For example, what about the EU? So understanding that, look, we have the top four US companies dominating essentially. So the EU came up with this digital concept. They want to create that single European digital data space. So they're coming up with the procedures and the rules to share anonymous user data within the European space. This is a brand new one. So, I mean, the initiative came out about a week ago, and this basically sets out the roadmap for digitalization of the whole European space so that the government supporting all EU-based companies by providing anonymous data so that they can actually compete via the United States-based companies in this battle, in this game, in this competition, because it's a global competition and Europe wants to be competitive. So I guess we could something to be said about it, and it's something to learn from. So we definitely should borrow some of the best practices that the Eurasian companies that are based here and throughout the Eurasian space would also, step in and definitely step up the game and become not just Eurasian but global, truly global. Thank you very much, and I would like to give floor to Mavzhan. Mavzhan, you represent Astana Hub. Hello. Welcome everyone. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Sarkisyan. Thank you. I represent international technology park called Astana Hub, and it's an international technology hub. It's international. So one of our functions is integration. So foreign activity. So everything that has to do with collaboration across the globe. Eurasian and beyond, of course. The idea is that we are designing the startup space. So, and of course, we're very, very big on talent management. So we're doing a lot when it comes to promoting digital entrepreneurship. It's very, very big for us. And of course, we use all social media like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and whatnot. And we have very powerful YouTube presence, and we're promoting this whole digital entrepreneurship idea. And we start very, very early from primary school, basically with school kids, because you need to start early, you need to bring it up very, very early so that you can actually incorporate these ideas into people. So, and we have an accelerator, by the way, within the digital hub. And we already have some very, very interesting results, some really interesting companies that are currently founded there and that are residents. We have companies from Russia, from Tajikistan, and from Kazakhstan, of course. So we have an expat center. So we have special benefits in terms of visas, in terms of taxes, in terms of support. We do a lot so that you can get a working visa as quickly as possible, so that you can have up to 5 years of absolutely trouble-free operations in Kazakhstan. We're also doing a lot on the IT education front. So we have the so-called digital schools with new digital skills. So this is a brand new initiative. So, and we of course invite global speakers as well. We have guys from Russia, Ukraine, other speakers from around the world. We have the venture investor school. We have already trained 150 entrepreneurs that are ready to actually start investing in startups that want to be venture capitalists, but have never done it. So we're providing them valuable skills on how to do it properly, and lots of other things. So it's a very, very comprehensive, I would say, activity. Of course, we also collaborate with the international center based in Astana, and a number of international global companies actually have a representative office in Astana because they would like to enjoy, of course, the new tax benefits that we provide as the government. and very, very popular, and especially the big tech, the fintech. We're doing a lot on that front. So the idea is that we serve as the not just the supply, not just the but also as we want to match both the supply and demand. We want to, of course, consume digital services, but also to produce digital assets and export it throughout the world. We have the Astana University. We have more than 800 students out there that are collaborating, of course, on the digital front. Lots of laboratories, VC initiatives, and startup initiatives. For example, we recently had a delegation from Sberbank, and they're very, very excited about having an office in Astana hub. And Sberbank is the largest bank in Russia. So that's what we do, basically. So like I said, we, of course, want to make this park as international as possible. So just take advantage of the opportunity. Yandex, by the way, we have a lady from Yandex, by the way. Why don't you come? We'll be happy to collaborate. We'll be happy to have you there. And look, and by the way, Yandex products are super popular among the residents and participants of our hub. So I will continue, of course, to lift the walls and make sure that there's one seamless space. And one of the projects, by the way, speaking of walls, is the so-called is a residency project. So the idea is that we can actually, so you can actually found a company remotely, so you can be a resident of a park remotely. So, and then get a residency also remotely. Okay, well, interestingly enough, thank you very much, Magjan. So, and I would like to actually round this up. And Yelena, why don't you step in? You represent Yandex, one of the most innovative companies out there. So tell me, the pro-digital regulation. So speaking of truly pro-digital regulation here in the Eurasian space, what kind of regulation do we need to be more competitive? For you to be more competitive within the Eurasian space and beyond, because you're already a global company. But tell me, what else do you need from the regulators? Yeah, and I would also thank I mean, it's good to be offline here. It's great to see. Of course, it's very dim here. I don't see many faces because of the lights, but I know you're there. I can sense the audience. So it's very, very nice to feel the energy. So before I tackle the question, let me just say one thing. So we see Yandex not as a company in Russia. We actually see Yandex as a company that is global, but it's founded in Russia, but it's a global company. So just say a couple of things here to make sure that you know who we are. For example, you know that our Belarusian-based development desks is one of the best in the world. It's one of the largest, and they have amazing software developers in Belarus. So we operate throughout the Eurasian space. So we have these distributed teams, different services like Yandex Taxi, Yandex this and that, etc. So it's not in the same place. So now we're talking about the IT education, just to bring out this education and people and all that. Look, we have so many great programs out there, and so we do a lot to actually, we work with schools. For example, we have Yandex School. It's currently in Armenia and Kazakhstan, by the way. And you know that in Armenia, we actually did it the same year as in Russia. We actually started in 4 cities in Russia. And Armenia, we did right away in about 6 months. So actually sooner than Moscow. We first did it in Armenia, then in Moscow, and then Kazakhstan as well, and also in Belarus. So we have all sorts of fundamental science, R&D stuff taking place in Belarus. We also, are very, very good friends since 2011 with the Belarusian State University. So we are truly borderless. Let's go that way. And of course, Yandex wants to be a big, big friend of everyone in the Eurasian space. So speaking of regulation, let me talk about the good and the bad. Of course, about what is and about what, and then give you my wish list. So, regulation is one of the most important things when it comes to digital economy. So alongside technologies, regulation is like a sister, basically come together. It's like left hand and a right hand. Technology and regulation, they have to be done together. It's like a traffic lights. Whereas people travel on their cars, but you need traffic lights because if it's a mess, if you don't have any rules, there's just people crash, right? The traffic jams and things like that. The same with regulation. They enable the rules so that it flows properly. So, but it's a very, very fine, very, very subtle process. You need to be very careful because otherwise you can destroy it. So this very fine line between order and chaos. So I will talk about Russia, but it's not the only result. And I'll also talk about Moscow, because Moscow here is also very, very big. So let me tell you about the success track record. Okay, and this is very, very important. Okay, the first, and this is my favorite, is self-employed people. 2 years ago, as you know, we had this idea about self-employed people. These are people that want to be sole entrepreneurs. These are couriers, taxi drivers, nannies, language teachers, lots and lots and lots of other things. Okay, so these are self-employed, and we came to them and said, look, guys, you can pay 4% tax. That's it, 4%. All right, or 6% if you're a company. So it's a very, very tax-friendly mode. So you don't have to hide. You can pay 4% or 6%, and then you're done. That's it. Enjoy your business, so to say. So, and the app, by the way, was really, really well done, properly. So the tax authority app, it's very easy to register, and it takes basically 15 minutes, although maybe too optimistic, but it takes some minutes to register. That's it. You input your picture, your passport data, and that's it. You're done. You don't need to queue or whatever. So it's all very, very digital, which is very good. So it's been around a year, basically, in Russia. This whole self-employment mode, it's not an experiment. It's been up and running for at least 12 months, which is good. Of course, it's good. So 1.3 million self-employed people joined the system already in other countries. So it's not just Russians, but these are people that actually operate for other Eurasian space. Maybe they were born outside Russia, but they operate in Russia, or vice versa. So it's great. So the so-called shade economy, right? So you're talking about some tax revenue, of course, because they all pay taxes, including, for example, we have 250,000 taxi drivers, Yandex taxi drivers, that became self-employed, which is very good. Couriers, by the way, become self-employed, and they also register. We have Yandex Food, by the way, food delivery service, and they all self-employed. I think it's tremendous because it creates tax revenues, and this is much easier for people. They feel safe, they feel like they're operating properly, so they don't have to be illegal or stay in the shade. They pay some taxes, and they feel comfortable and feel protected. Now, speaking of Moscow, by the way, so at a certain point of time, Moscow just decided to actually give out free licenses to all taxi drivers. So it is so easy to be an official taxi driver in Moscow. And that exploded the market. I remember hitchhiking, basically, right, standing on the curbside in Moscow. What was the last time you did that? No, you open the app, click one button, the taxi is there. We have probably one of the best taxi services in the world, and that's good. And but at the same time, of course, you have so much traffic jams. So you have all these traffic jams. So we'd like to have like a dedicated lane for taxis, so that taxis don't have to stand in traffic jams, and so that anyone in the morning can figure out, okay, do I take my own car or do I use a taxi? Taxi is twice as fast, or use public transport. So to give people more options, right? So why not? Instead of parking your car, taking your car, and many people actually say no to owning their car and instead using a taxi driver. A lot of people say, I used to have a car, I sold it, and I use Yandex Taxi instead. So, you see, there you go. Also, paid parking, by the way. But at the same time, car sharings are parking free. So, therefore, you have an explosion of car sharing from zero to just an incredible volume, just out of blue sky. And it's not just our car sharing. There are several competing companies, and they're all, feeling great. And this is a very popular service. And instead of using your own car, because using your own car, you need to pay for the parking, but for the car sharing, you don't pay. So, and that actually saves Moscow from all these terrible traffic jams. Just imagine that, and I'm not even talking about the pandemic, I'm talking about something else. It's a bit better now, but just let's go a year ago. So imagine all these, imagine everybody would use their own car instead of the car sharing. You can imagine the traffic jams, it's terrible. So that said, one more thing, also very, very important for the future, and that's, of course, autonomous cars, driver-free cars. So here, from zero to having something, they're still very, very new. Some say impossible. We don't trust the AI. What if they crash? You need a driver behind the wheel. And yet other countries say, why not? As long as there's proof of concept, why not? And you need regulation, of course. I don't want to be braggadocious about it, but by the way, Yandex car is one of the best in the world. We're definitely in top four. We have an incredible. We have 160 driverless cars, mostly in Moscow, but not only in Moscow. There are other cities where our cars are currently operating. So the point is that this is only possible if this autonomous driving can actually go for miles and miles and miles, because it's a machine learning, right? So first you start with the driver actually not touching the wheel but being in the car, then you sit on the passenger seat, and then as machine keeps learning the learning curve, then this car basically can drive itself. It doesn't need a person inside, and that's good. Otherwise, how are you going to train the algorithm? It's a neural network, so it has to, there's certain mileage, there's certain amount of miles that you need to go through, especially the traffic jams and all the crossroads and all that. So basically, and regulation can actually help us to be one of the leading companies in the world, such as, for instance, driverless cars. We can actually outperform, because maybe other countries will say, no, 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 we don't want this. It's maybe they will have a conservative stance, and instead Russia, if it's open enough, can actually leapfrog in terms of autonomous driving. So of course you want to, borrow from multiple countries, from Moscow and other countries. An idea, we should take the best practice and disseminate it on the one. Well, to begin with, that would be nice, right? To exchange best practice and to share it, and to have similar, so without reinventing the wheel. To start with that. So, and by the way, here in the Eurasian space, we have a unique situation. We have global marketplace, we have big IT giants, right? And we have Americans, we have Chinese, we have all that. We don't close our borders, but at the same time we have us, Yandex, right? We have domestically bred and now global companies. I think that's very good. So the idea is to make sure that we are as open as possible, and to make sure that they all have equal rights. That's what it's all about, to make sure that they have equal rights, right? So that there's a level playing field, because competition is good. So competition pushes them forward. And for example, a couple of conferences ago, I think I told it already, but let me just give you an idea. So 7 years ago, we did a search engine in Turkey. Yandex Turkey. We decided to actually have a search engine in Turkey because they only had Google in Turkey and nothing else. And the Google sucked in Turkey, to be honest with you. The search engine was really doing badly. So we thought, okay, let's compete with Google, right? So we, Yandex, we're better in search engines. So the moment Google learns that Yandex goes to Turkey, what do you think? So they start investing in Turkey, and the Google search just went through the roof in Turkey. So, and these Turkish people actually now enjoying two search engines. I'm not saying we won, but the end users definitely benefited. So competition brings out the best. Well, before the competition, Google wasn't doing much in Turkey. The moment we came, Google started to excel in Turkey. So there you go. So competition definitely works. For the end users, definitely, but maybe it's bad for the company because companies would like to dominate, but for the user, definitely competition is very, very good. So what I'm saying is that you want to make sure that different stakeholders have their rights, and these rights are not being violated. It's almost like, it's you want to make sure that it's a win-win. It's not like you are pulling it towards you and others suffer. Now, you want to make sure that it's a win-win. So if you can do that, and of course, it has to be a dialogue within the whole IT community. With that, you can definitely have that balance, the checks and balances in place. Now, look, it's pandemic, right? And look, all these remote deliveries, food deliveries, drug deliveries, and whatnot. So, how do you deliver drugs online? So it seems like it's difficult, right? But I mean, it makes total sense. Sometimes actually delivering drugs may be even more important than delivering clothes, right? Because why do you need clothes? You're sitting at home. Who cares, right? You can go walk naked at home, but you need drugs, right? So drug delivery, I think, is very important because of the temperature regime and all that. Very, very important. And also fintech, financial transactions. Look, just to, for example, take Yandex taxi drivers from Kyrgyzia. It's very, very difficult for them to wire money from our account to their account, right, from country to country. It would be nice to actually have seamless and instant transactions throughout the Eurasian space, such as money transfers and things like that. So regulation is important. Yes, it is as important as what we do. There has to be a balance, of course. Thank you, Elena. Thank you very much. So, and let's go to Kyrgyzia and Kazakhstan because we have two more representatives. I would like to give floor to Atulbek Ismailov. What about you? You represent Kyrgyzia. What do you think you need to do uh, on your side to make sure that there are no obstacles and no bottlenecks when it comes to yeah, deployment of digital projects? Yes, hello everyone. Thank you for being with us today. I am very, very happy for doing this, and so that you can actually finally do this at least hybrid format. So this slash I'm online, of course, but you're all offline. That's very good, and I definitely appreciate it. And the topics are super important. So every time we talk about digitalization, so very often we start focusing on the technology side, but it's not the only thing that we should worry about. So let me give you top three factors, big three topics that would definitely enhance and enable these initiatives. So, okay, number one, which is the easiest thing to do, just the human factor. There's the human connection, just the professional networking. Very, very often we find this very strange situation where domestic companies in Kyrgyzstan have very poor knowledge about what is available outside the country. They don't know how to network, they don't know how to strike partnership, they don't know who to go to, even within the Eurasian space, let alone global space. And this is a huge problem. And I guess you see the same problem with the government of Kyrgyzstan. Sometimes the networking, let's say, it's not it's definitely not one of our fortes, for sure. And we definitely need a much better networking skill in this regard, so that we at least know how to collaborate, know how to work together. So to be less isolated and more open. Now, this is number one. Secondly, so first of all, of course, we want to make sure that our national laws are in line with the digital technologies that enter our life and become a routine. But at the same time, we want to coordinate and harmonize our legislation with the other Eurasian countries to make sure that, let's say, a Russian-based company can come and work here at Kyrgyzstan and have no problem doing business, such as, whatever services, such as taxis, such as wire transfers, payments, all the fintech, whatever you want to do. So that should be seamless, and there shouldn't be a problem. Now, one more thing out there: platforms, marketplaces. This is very important. So we want to make sure that the technologies can be based around ecosystems, so that we engage third parties, right, and therefore enable this kind of universe. Well, Yandex is a great example. For example, as you know, they have the Yandex Taxi, Yandex Go. It's called Yandex Go right now. It's a platform, and via that platform, you offer other services. You can employ people, and you can do so much, right? And tremendous number of people actually get employment, get a job because of Yandex Taxi, right? And this is one of those things that we can should as government enable in our country to make sure that there's connectivity, and there's you can call it like a seamless exchange of data, seamless exchange of data. And that said, of course, we want to make sure that the terms and conditions for the companies, for the businesses, are welcoming, and the same for the citizens. So I would actually focus on these things. That's important. So it's all from me. Thank you. Altenbeck, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. So up next is Ashat. How about you? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. As Deputy Chairman of Ministry for Digital Development of Republic of Kazakhstan. So we all here, all used to doing it online. And this is a major topic that we're discussing today. Very important. And digitalization. And to begin with, of course, on behalf of the ministry, I'd like to welcome all of you guys here. This is the first ever Eurasian Congress I'm hoping it's not last. Hoping it won't be your last. And there are hundreds and hundreds of such events, right? And it's good that the Eurasian Development Bank actually has its own Congress now. So, and I've been listening very carefully to y'all. And there's one thing I would like to say. Look, in terms of the future, in terms of potential, I would actually focus on the so-called four liberties, digitalization for liberties. And in terms of labor, capital, services, and products, I would like to focus on digitalization of four liberties. And I think that depends on the following conditions. Number one, everything that we've been talking about, all these, the agenda, the Eurasian agenda, all the items, everything that we've compiled together, you can call the constitution, right? The bullet list. Need to make sure that we tick every box. That's number one. Number two, I call it digital equality. Let's call it that way. Digital equality or digital equalization. Some countries run a bit of ahead. Some countries fall a little behind. Sometimes much ahead or much behind. So it depends. So it's not a level playing field. Some countries are definitely more advanced than others. So somehow we want to make sure that countries are more, well, there's a more level playing field, and that the countries that are falling behind would catch up. And today we're talking about the coronavirus pandemic. And I think that the this pandemic, it's not so much of a problem for digital industry, despite all the aftermath and the mortality and all of that, despite the healthcare issues and economic issues, etc. I think this is a stress test. For digital economy, it's definitely a stress test. I mean, for all countries across the globe, including our country, the country of Kazakhstan, for sure. The pandemic has exposed our weaknesses, our gaps, and actually demonstrated the true level of our maturity or immaturity in certain areas. So it's a good stress test. And this is definitely an enabler. And this basically rejuvenated number of industries and offered incredible opportunities to a number of companies out there. Yes, it was bad for some, but it definitely benefited many. Now, as far as business goes, and as far as these opportunities, definitely it's all online, right? This is the dominant force. So the trend I'm talking about today, it is definitely a litmus test, let's call it that way, and it's definitely something that we need to do together because virus doesn't know any boundaries. It's boundaries free, and the same for digitalization. It has to be boundaries free. And we want to make sure that we don't limit ourselves artificially. Yandex, for example, it's a limitless company, right? Border free. They operate throughout the Eurasian space, which is good. And that's what we're talking about. I mean, for example, Yelena mentioned the Turkey initiative. So there you go. And Turkey is actually far beyond the Eurasian space. So, and Mavjan was also talking about it. He was talking about the Astana hub, about their international and global initiatives, which is also particularly admirable. So when it comes to digital initiatives, startups, accelerators, hubs, I think, of course, this is a major initiative and requires a lot of support. We need to scale up. We want to scale up, and we want to make sure that we operate throughout the Eurasian space and beyond. Look, I can talk for hours and hours about the Astana Hub. I think it's an amazing project. But again, I would like to again talk about it through the lens of partnership. This is an incredible project, but it's about partnership. So, and that's what we need to focus on. And I would definitely of course, focus on the support provided by the Eurasian Bank. It's an incredible initiative, and it was established to do exactly that. And I would like to wish the Eurasian Development Bank continued success. Thank you, and we are always ready to collaborate, to support the Eurasian Bank, and we definitely support your initiative. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thank you for doing this. So, and I'm open to questions, by the way. Happy to take your questions. Thank you, Ashat. Thank you very much for this. You know, unfortunately, we are very limited for time because we have the big session coming up, and we definitely need to catch up. And we have also the awards ceremony. Don't forget about the awards because we have the best solution contest. So, look, everyone, thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you, everyone here in the room, and thank you, everyone joining us and watching online. We very much appreciate it. So, and by the way, Nikolai, by the way, one of the leaders of our bank yesterday came up with this amazing idea, and I think it was brilliant. So he suggests that we need like a standalone conference that is dedicated to digitalization, right? And nothing else. Because, you know, we've been here, what, an hour? That's not enough. We definitely need more time. So we need like a full day digitalization conference within our scope, of course. So, I mean, because we just presented our ideas, we need feedback from you. We have the audience because of the lack of time. We can't take the questions, and we need that time. And for that, we need, of course, a separate conference to do just that. So, and unfortunately, we're not going to be able to go through all of these questions simply because of the lack of time. But once again, we need that, and that we will do it. There will be a standalone, brand new digital conference dedicated to that. Okay, so, but thank you. And don't forget that now, very, very soon, we're going to move to the main hall for the official opening. Thank you very much. And so we'd like to announce the award ceremony, for digital solutions. And for that, of course, to give floor to Tigran Sarkisyan. And the winner of the digital contest goes to Online Doctor, Mobile Technologies, Russian Federation, a resident of Skolkovo Technology Park. Congratulations. Thank you. For taking part in this contest. We appreciate your involvement. It's an incredible solution. Thank you for doing this. Up next, online event space from the Republic of Belarus. Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations on the victory. Appreciate it. Thank you for doing this. Up next is B2B Cloud from Smart Staffing, Russia. Thank you. Congratulations. And last but not least, another award goes to the Republic of Kazakhstan. And the project is Forum VR from Tentec. And this one goes virtually to Kazakhstan. And the winners, please remain on the stage for a picture. Thank you all. Thank you very much. And with that, we finish the session and the award ceremony. Thank you for being with us today. And please now transition to the main hall.